Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Saudara Menteri Luar, Datuk Muhammad Hassan, Datuk Omar Hassan dan seluruh jentera Kementerian Luar telah memainkan peranan yang membanggakan, membantu bukan sahaja Malaysia tetapi juga ASEAN dalam memperankan. Saya ucap terima kasih. Sri Tiong, Menteri Pelancongan, Tan Sri Speaker Dewan Rakyat, Tan Sri Johari Abdul, KSN dan semua yang hadir, tuan-tuan yang terutama, tentulah satu kebanggaan dan penghargaan untuk kita bersama dalam ASEAN, bukan saja merayakan sambutan 58 tahun, tetapi merasa syukur dan juga mencatat kemajuan demi kemajuan. Kalau saya boleh mulakan dengan menggunakan kesempatan ini menghargai wawasan, sumbangan pemimpin-pemimpin yang disebut tadi dalam ucapan Menteri Luar, bahawa hanya pimpinan yang punya pendirian, yang melihat jauh ke depan, yang tidak hanya terikat dengan permasalahan dalaman dan domestik, memikirkan kepentingan jiran, rantau dan dunia, yang boleh menggagaskan satu idea dalam keadaan negara-negara baru mencapai kemerdekaan dan bergelut dengan pelbagai masalah dalam negara dan pertembungan yang sengit dalam apa disebutkan pada masa itu di antara dua kuasa besar. Jadi oleh itu kita turut merayakan dan hari ini mencatat suatu kejayaan kerana sumbangan pemikiran dan wawasan pejuang-pejuang dan tokoh-tokoh dan pendiri negara-negara dan juga ASEAN. Tetapi cabaran masih berterusan dan kita tentunya akan dianggap relevan sekiranya kita hadapi dengan berani dan dengan komitmen. For once in every decade, the stewardship of this community of nations is passed to us. It is a trust laden with responsibility and no small measure of challenges. Each time the gavel comes to us, so does the expectation that Malaysia, with the support mandate given by our ASEAN colleagues, will help to move the needle, that our year will be one of imagination and progress. This is a challenge we have embraced time and again. We have now entered the final stage of our chairmanship. In just over 4 months, we'll pass the mental responsibility to my friend, Mr. Bobong Marcos of the Philippines. Yet much remains to be done in this closing phase, particularly in the lead up to the 47th ASEAN Summit and related summits in October. We now stand at the threshold of the culmination point. What we do in the month ahead will decide how history judges us, our year at the helm. For in the final week of October, our aim is as audacious as it is consequential, to deliver ASEAN's largest and most high-profile gathering of world leaders to date. It will be a veritable assembly of the world's principal centers of power and influence. We look forward to welcoming the heads of governments of ASEAN and our dialogue partners, including United States President Donald Trump and I believe President Xi Jinping of China. In addition, we have received positive indications of attendance from Brazilian President Lula da Silva and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, who currently holds the BRICS and the G20 presidencies, respectively. But securing their presence is only the first step. The greater test is to ensure that they leave Malaysia and ASEAN feeling their time was well spent. We must ensure that their visit yields results of lasting value. The eyes of the world will be upon us. We must therefore rise to the occasion. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, anniversaries are moments to take stock, to reassess, to reflect on how far we have come and the journey still ahead. And I dare say without the least overstatement that the founders of ASEAN will look to our progress with pride. But we would be mistaken to think that we have outgrown the motivations and concerns of those who signed the Bangkok Declaration in 1967. Adam Malik, Tun Razak, Siso Ramos, S. Rajaratnam, and Tanat Koban, the founding fathers of ASEAN. They understood this, that the region's first task was to ensure that nations of Southeast Asia could live together in amity and cooperation. They also recognized that Southeast Asia must take primary responsibility for its own peace, its own security, and its own prosperity. That conviction still beats at the heart of ASEAN. It was the foundation of our beginning in 1967, and it remains the measure of our relevance today. Peace between nations, peace within them, these are the foundations of our regional community. We must not take them for granted. Nor can we set aside our responsibility to forge regional solutions to regional problems. Now, the recent escalation along the Cambodia-Thai border reminds us how swiftly tensions can rise when left unresolved. As Chair, Malaysia has worked constructively to facilitate talks between the two countries. I would take note to recognize the support mandate of my friends, Tuanku Sultan Brunei, presidents, prime ministers in ASEAN, who had continuously given the full support and endorsement. And this is a remarkable feat. I'm able to do that with Datuk Muhammad Hassan and the colleague because of the solidarity, commitment, trust, and friendship and brotherhood of all ASEAN leaders. Thank you again. Yes, we have brokered the ceasefire. And we had the United States of America with President Donald Trump and China supporting this endeavor and recognizing the role of the chair and ASEAN generally. And I think this is unprecedented, remarkable feat, and of course this shows the strength, commitment and resolve of ASEAN leaders. But I must also take this opportunity to thank both leaders of Cambodia and Thailand, the cabinet, the chief of the armed forces, here coordinated by Tan Sri Zaini, our chief of armed forces, who had played a pivotal role. So it is multi-layered. It's not just the prime minister or foreign minister. The army and the relationship trust among both our armed forces and ASEAN leaders is remarkable. And it is because of that level of trust and confidence we're able to continue not only to secure an understanding. And I was told that in the history of ceasefires in the world, in the past many decades, if not centuries, this was probably the first ceasefire that worked fast and effectively due to the support of everyone. Yesterday we resolved the final agreement between both the defense ministers and defense ministries after 3-4 days of deliberations by the representatives dealing with some very detailed technical question. And I must again express my profound gratitude and appreciation for the support. The United States and China has given their commitment to support logistics in this endeavor, but leave it entirely to the bilateral understanding between Thailand and Cambodia, moderated by Malaysia, and when necessary, all ASEAN leaders have given commitment, when and if necessary, they will give their support and do whatever is necessary to ensure that we secure a lasting peace between Cambodia and Thailand. I am therefore extremely grateful to all the players and factors. Okay, it's Foreign Ministry playing this role together with the Chief of the Armed Forces and the known commitment. Every time I speak to the Prime Minister of Thailand or Prime Minister of Cambodia, I always tell them, look, I have this mandate and the support of all my ASEAN colleagues. And therefore, that gives an added strength to what I have to say, and they have to naturally consider it very seriously. And that's why I think the credit goes to ASEAN as a body, association, and I think if this is a good beginning, it augurs well for the future of ASEAN in terms of attaining this geopolitical strategy. Now, our next challenge, of course, Myanmar. We have made some progress, at least in terms of securing somewhat a ceasefire. Foreign Minister, together with Foreign Ministers of Thailand and Indonesia, as I understand, will be visiting Myanmar soon to impress upon them to stay on course. Start with an end of violence and cessation of hostilities, and pursue with dialogue within the stakeholders and players within Myanmar, and we in ASEAN would of course do whatever necessary to facilitate that process. The only point I would raise is, because ASEAN ambassadors, leaders are here, is to move beyond securing peace and maintaining centrality in terms of geopolitical understanding. That's why we have moved to ensure that ASEAN would be durable and strong with enhanced economic relations through intra-ASEAN trade and investments, regional effort in terms of energy, grid, and connectivity, which happens to be the thrust of our economic agenda. I believe much more needs to be done. One of the key issues to be deliberated in October would be the economy, intra-ASEAN trade, cross-border investments, energy grid, and connectivity. So let me again thank you to my son and your team, and Tansi Zaini and entire staff in the Ministry of Defense for their effort in ensuring a great future success and peace between Thailand and Cambodia. And through the ambassadors, please convey my respects and satisfaction that from the meeting between Prime Ministers and yesterday's meeting between the two defense ministers, we have achieved what seemed to be unachievable or problems that was considered unsurmountable in the past, but with that trust and readiness to work within the ASEAN framework, we did succeed. So terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum.